Hey guys, welcome to Geared Forwards. My name's Paul, and today we'll be taking a look at a Victorinox product, a Swiss Army knife if you would. Today we're taking a look at the Pioneer. Now, the Pioneer is a very old model dating back to basically what for a long time militaries were actually issued, the soldier. This is the ongoing continuation, the civilian model, and because it's civilian, you have a keychain. So we're going to start off with a tool overview, and then we will get into the actual size comparisons and how this differs from the size Swiss Army knife you might actually be familiar with. First up, I do have to throw a disclaimer that this is not the standard color for the Pioneer. The standard color, and they are all in ALOX, which is this metal scale rather than the typical plastic. It's normally this plain silver. I don't actually have a Pioneer in that normal color. This is a limited run and a store exclusive. If you are actually looking for different colors of Pioneer, you can pick some up. They were the limited edition model for quite a long time before it switched over to the Pioneer X, which is the same thing with scissors. But enough about colors, let's get into it. So it's a very simple two-layer Swiss Army knife. You can see the layers here. Then you have your standard Victorinox shape and steel knife blade. One thing that and I'll show this on this one because I messed the other one up. One thing that the larger ALOX knives are quite well liked for is this awl. It's hard to show this on camera, but it's actually got a little bit of almost a hook to it. It's very sharp, and this is actually not just good as an awl, putting holes in things, starting pilot holes, that kind of thing. It's actually very good as a package opener. It'll just tear straight through tape without gunking up your main blade. The reason I switched over there is because I unfortunately dropped this one all down on a ceramic plate, which, yeah, a little bit of restoration work didn't quite get it back to the hookiness that it did originally. And then you have the standard opening layer. So you have a bottle opener, screwdriver, with a wire stripping notch there. This does lock at the 90-degree position in case you need some extra torque, and extends fully. This is also good as a pry bar substitution. I would never push a Swiss Army knife to extremes when it comes to prying, but the ALOX models are better for it, as you have these thicker scales rather than just some thin liners and some Celador on top. And then on the other side, you just have the standard can opener with the small flathead or Phillips driver on the end. Now, on to size comparisons. First of all, with some of the sizes of Swiss Army knife you're probably most familiar with. Now, this is a Spartan, and this is a 91mm knife. The Pioneer is a 93mm. All of these full-size ALOX style knives are going to be 93mm, and the difference there is it's a little longer, but you actually get a not insubstantial difference in knife blade. See if we can size that up. It's not just a little longer, it is actually a good bit thicker as well. And personally, this one shows a little bit of wear because this was actually a pocket carry of mine in IT work for a while. And this just feels like a more hard use kind of blade because of that tiny bit of extra length and that thickness. Combined with the ALOX scales, it does feel much more comfortable and confident in the hand than the typical knife does, even if they are mostly comparable in how they perform. Next up, compare it next to a classic but this is a 58mm size. Many of you probably have or have seen these on a keychain at some point. So obviously substantially shorter and thinner. One thing now, of course, you do lose on the ALOX models is there's no scale tools. You're not going to get tweezers, toothpick, or on the plus scales, the pin or pen. But you do get some more rigidity and some nice colorways. Let's give you a blade open of that just for a hilarious comparison. So as you can see, this is much more comparable if you're actually going to be doing some hard use other than opening some envelopes. However, they do just fine for that as well. And this is a Cadet. This is an 84mm. Also a very popular model from Victorinox. As you can see, being both two-layer ALOX knives, they are quite similar. Show you the thickness there. And let's get a weight on the Pioneer. Now, as you can see, I don't actually have a split ring on this one. It's because I tend to prefer not having a split ring on Pioneers. Just my personal preference. Let's go ahead and grab a weight. Oh, that's 70 grams or 70 milliliters. Or for those of you across the pond, about 2.47 ounces. So that's what it is. That's how it compares to some things that you might be more familiar with. In terms of, do I recommend the Pioneer? I absolutely recommend the Pioneer. It is a very sturdy, durable knife. It can take drops. It can take being pushed into harder use. Just remember that with Victorinox steels, you will probably end up sharpening it a little sooner rather than later, but it will also be easier to sharpen. It is a little bit pricier than the equivalent two-layer model. This is mostly equivalent. You have the same opening layer, roughly the same blade. You just trade out the small blade for a awl, and you do lose the back tools. You're not going to find a ALOX currently produced, at the very least, from Victorinox that has back tools, although that is possible through modding if you're interested in that. It is a little pricier, especially nowadays. However, it's definitely worth it. Even if you're just a collector and you want to round out your collection a little bit, or perhaps you're facing legal restrictions like in the UK, where you need something, for example, over here that is less than 3 inches, folds and does not lock, then this is a good, sturdier option. Whilst just to give a UK relevant example, the Spyderco UK PK is a more modern knife design representation of that. It does, with the plastic handles, not feel quite as sturdy in hand, in my opinion, as the ALOX, so that is quite a nice feeling when you're using it. If you want a little bit more functionality out of your Pioneer, there is a Pioneer X which has the scissors added. It's literally the only difference. It's going to get fatter as you get the scissors. I don't have one of those at the moment to show you though. So if you're looking for a great EDC option and you don't mind, losing the scale tools and the back tools, I would definitely recommend the Pioneer for you, especially as that is just an excellent package opener. So I hope you found this video informative, helpful, and if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button down below and that subscribe button. If you want to get notified of videos that come out in future, and I'm hoping to be much more regular with that, then hit that notification bell. If I sound weird, I do apologize. I am recovering from COVID, but I managed not to cough, which is a good thing. And until next time, I've been Paul, and I'll see you in the next video.